Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Sydney's Spin Big Ten edition, where we had opening weekend of Big Ten softball this past weekend, and we had a lot of teams stay at the top. If you look at our Big Ten power rankings we have on Softball America this morning, you had UCLA and Oregon stay in that 1 and 2 position after taking the series. UCLA swept Purdue, and Oregon took the series over Washington. But then one of the biggest buzzes around the country was Ohio State and the back and forth offensive explosive matchup that they had against Nebraska. Ohio State took the series at home against the Huskers. And I'm excited today to talk about the Northwestern Wildcats, who right now are currently on top of the Big Ten softball standings at 4-0 after being the only team to walk away undefeated this past weekend in Oklahoma City. And we have a special guest today in freshman Kaylie Avvisato. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Kaylie, it's been so fun for me I watched you play in travel ball last year in Indiana, and obviously you're coming in as a very high recruit for the Wildcats, but to see you wearing the uniform in such a big way, kind of walk me through these first few months of season.
Yeah, it's been a really fun experience just experiencing the travel, playing at a bunch of different venues, and also playing against and with a bunch of the players that I've been watching on TV for the past few years has been a really cool experience.
When you talk about that, does it ever feel surreal? Like you just got done playing in the venue of the Women's College World Series.
Yeah, it did. It was really cool. The stadium was huge. Yeah.
I know. And then you obviously hope to come back in June when it's a fully
Yeah.
packed stadium. But I want to even talk about your team this past weekend. You guys offensively averaged over 10 runs a game. Where did you feel things really click? And did it even kind of start the week before you guys had a bye?
Yeah. I think the whole season, like, our team has been talking about how excited they were to play in the Big Ten. And I think they were just saying, like, it's a whole new season. Like, Big Ten is fun, like, anything can happen. And I think that really just shifted in our mindset. Like, everyone wanted it so bad. And I think it started with the Louisville game a few weeks ago. Like, our bats finally started to come alive. And I think we really brought that in this past weekend. And yeah, I just think we just had so much fun playing. And
You mentioned how kind of this team has always loved to play in the Big Ten. I want to know what of those conversations have looked like from the upperclassmen to you, because this is your first time playing conference play. And I know you got to sit in at the ring ceremony, back in
yeah,
January and see, your teammates be crowned, some of them their third Big Ten title, which is
yeah,
unbelievable. But how much have they just kind of taught you to embrace this conference play?
yeah. They talk about how like I said, anything can happen. Like you play 3 games against the same team, and anything. The Big Ten is very competitive. Like we score a lot of runs. Obviously, any team can come through, and so um, yeah, they just talked about how you just have fun playing and compete.
When you think about this team, you guys obviously you just mentioned fun. I know that's something that you all have. What's been the dynamic like just on the field, but also off the field with these group of women?
Yeah, I think the second, like, our freshman class stepped, on campus, I think we really clicked with the team, and I think we knew that this was gonna be a fun year and a fun team. Um, yeah, we just have a lot of fun together, like, sometimes we'll just stay in the locker rooms before and after practice for hours just talking together, it never gets old, like, there's always something new. We go to dinner a lot as a team, yeah, I think we just have a lot of fun together on and off the field, and I think it's finally starting to show on the field.
You mentioned dinner. I want to know, do you have a favorite spot in Evanston so far?
We go to Todoroki,
Classic.
Phillies, 10Q, which is new. Um, yeah, those are kind of all the places we go.
Those are your staples. For anyone coming down this weekend, they could go there, which
Yeah,
I want to talk about this weekend because this is the first time Northwestern has ever brought somebody who's out of conference that's not for a regional, not for a postseason type of matchup, and to be able to have this in March, like,
yeah,
what are the feelings like right now with the team hosting Mississippi State?
yeah, we're really excited, like, it's not every day that you get to have an SEC team come up here, especially in March, like I said. and it's literally there's snow on the ground right now, like, it's gonna be kinda crazy. It's funny because this past weekend, obviously, we were in Oklahoma City, but on Saturday, it was, like, 70 degrees, and then Sunday was snowing. Like, that's definitely something new that doesn't happen where I'm from. It's literally 80 degrees in Virginia. Um, but yeah, we're really excited. I think it's gonna be, really good competition, and I think it's gonna be a good fight, and I think we're gonna really use the weather to our advantage.
I love that you mentioned that because that's Big Ten weather and
Yeah,
Midwest to a T. One day you have it 70 degrees and the next day it's snowing. Like tomorrow
no
should be
way.
50. So hopefully, melt the snow away quickly.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have been watching film on Mississippi State. Obviously, you understand all the parts of the game that they do very well. But what do you think it's going to really take in order for you guys who are coming off such a big weekend to really stay strong in certain areas of the game?
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of preparation. Mississippi State, they have hard throwing pitchers, so we've been focusing on that. And I think just bringing the momentum we had offensively into this weekend is really going to be a big part for us. And I think just staying aggressive and having a good mindset through the weekend is what's going to get us through it.
I enjoy listening to you break down because when I watch your game, you don't play like a typical freshman. I feel like from the very first weekend, you have stepped in with no fear, which is a lot easier to say than to actually do with this transition. But what has it been for you that's clicked so well, not only offensively, but defensively as well at shortstop?
I mean, I think it's really easy to play with when you're surrounded by so many talented players and just coaches that believe in you. Everyone on the field wants to see you succeed, and they're all willing to help in any situation, especially in the infield, like playing next to Bridget, Nito, and Kansas. Like, there's not much better you can get than that. And I think offensively, just trusting that everyone in the lineup is going to work as hard as you do and just staying competitive in the box and having the mindset of like the pitcher's not going to beat me. And so just finding a way on every time that I'm in the box has just been my mindset.
Is that what you're telling yourself that no one's going to beat you when you're stepping up to the plate?
Yeah. I mean, trying to I'm just trying to like compete with the pitcher, make her throw more pitches to get her tired, and then trusting that whoever's behind me is going to come through as well.
You shouted out your infield, and I want to go back to Oklahoma City and the web gems that you all had. Grace Nito diving behind first base, but walk me through your play at shortstop because I that will live rent free in my mind watching you cross over like Superwoman layout. Like in the moment, what was going through your mind?
If I'm being honest, I didn't really have time to think about anything, because it was hit so hard, but I think just in that moment, focusing on my first step, um, is really because if my first step is any different, then I'm not catching that ball, and I think the week prior to last weekend, we focused a lot on first step and improving our first step, and we did a bunch of drills, and I think that just helped trust in that, to help me make that play.
Well, the first step was perfect, as
Yeah.
you mentioned, or you would not have gotten there.
Yeah.
You talk about the coaching, and I love how, obviously practice works, right? What you guys did there in transition. Talk to me about, Kate Carroll, Tony, and just what this coaching staff has meant to you and believing in you so early on to put you in these positions.
Yeah, they've put a lot of work in to just helping me feel comfortable on the field and allowing me to play freely because obviously it's hard coming in as a freshman, like, at first, I was, like, scared to mess up, and it's, like, difficult to play how you wanna play when you have that in the back of your mind, but, they've really made it easy for me to feel comfortable, quickly, and I think that's what's helped me, and they just put so much time in, um, outside of practice to just help me feel that way.
When you think back to your recruiting, like life basically, and how they sold you on Northwestern, has it lived up to everything they've told you early on so far?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, what my deciding factor was the coaching staff as well as the players, and I just really think the culture that we have here is special, and I think it's different from anywhere else. I think the coaches just showing that they believe in us, like, allows us to play freely, like I said, and it just makes us want it so much more to do it for them because 'cause they're doing it for us.
Mm. And there's nothing more special than that. And I also want to talk about your why because, I've seen your mom at a lot of your games, and I would love to know more about that relationship, having her there to support you, and then the rest of just kind of your support system and circle that you have.
Yeah, my mom is definitely my biggest supporter. She's come to every single game so far, and she's finally coming up here this weekend. Um, and yeah, it's just really special to have her there because, she played in college, so she gets it. And she's just been a big part of my growth growing up and to get me to where I am today. So it's just cool to see her in the stands every game.
Hasn't missed a game. That
Yeah.
is unbelievable. You have a boyfriend who is very talented at Duke, and I want to know, like, how often are you guys having these conversations of like just getting your mind right before a game? Is that something that you talk about?
I mean, sometimes it's hard because 'cause we're obviously both playing every single weekend, and, the hour time difference, it's always, like, our games line up, so it's kinda hard to talk, but it's nice because he gets it and, like, he's going through the same stuff. He's obviously a very good player, so he understands everything that I'm going through, all the struggles, and so it's nice to have someone like that that I can go to every day and just talk about whatever I need to talk about.
I would even think just having 2 freshmen right now who are impacting a ton. I look at Avery Gardens last weekend, kind of
Yeah.
the freshman duo right now who are stepping up for your team. What was it like to see her have a big weekend last weekend? And also just in terms of you guys maybe like talking with each other, getting over that freshman, feeling and feeling like you really belong.
Yeah, I was really happy for her. She's a great player. I played her in travel ball too, which is funny, before she was even committed here. Um, but yeah, I think it's fun talking with her and just like, ranting together about anything that we're going through because we're obviously going through the same stuff. And it's just nice to have a friend like that to go to if I need anything. And
It seems like this relationship between the team is where you're all very much supportive of one another. Has there been
yeah.
a conversation from one of the players that has really stuck out to you so far this year that they might have had with you?
Um, I don't know if there's been, like, a specific conversation, but I just think, obviously our preseason didn't go the way that we wanted it to, so we kinda all came together as a group, talked about it, talked about where we need to be, how we were gonna get there, and I think after that, we really had a shift. It was right before the Louisville,
Mhm.
um, tournament, and, I think we all came together in the locker room and we really focused on what we were going to do that week in practice. And I think that really shifted our mindset. And Lauren Boyd uh, led it.
Talk to me more about Lauren Boyd. Obviously, she hadn't pitched in nearly 2 years, starts back on the mound, but still has such a leadership role for you
Yeah.
guys.
She's super fun. I mean, whenever she comes out to pitch, she just has like a different vibe and she just brings so much energy and it's easy to play behind her when you know that exactly what you're going to get out of her every time she steps on the mound and you know that she's going to give it her all and you know that she believes in you. So it like makes us want to make those plays even more because she's doing that for us. So she's super fun to play behind.
When your play happened with the line shot that we were just describing, I think her reaction was my favorite part.
Yeah, the coaches were like, "I've never seen her do that before." And I was like,
She's pretty
yeah,
stoic when she's on the mound, so she did
yeah,
break a big smile for that one, and then I think you received about 4 to 5 hugs before
yeah.
the next pitch even resumed.
Yeah, that was fun, and, I mean, the same thing happened for when Nito made that play. I think we all just get so excited for each other, and we just really feed off of each other.
You talked about the elephant in the room in terms of your guys' preseason, how you might not have had the record you wanted coming out of it, but also the type of competition you guys face.
Yeah,
Your first 18 games, you face 6 teams, majority all north of the top 15 in the country. What do you think was the biggest learning lesson, even though they didn't always go your way?
I think in the moment it was kind of difficult because obviously, like, we weren't getting the outcomes we wanted, but we were playing really good competition, really good pitchers, probably some of the best pitchers I've ever seen. Um, and I think we were all kind of just trying to do so much because we all wanted it so bad, and it just kept going, like, downhill, and then I think when we all started to relax and we had that conversation is really when we all just had so much more confidence in the box. We weren't trying to do too much, and we were all just feeding off of each other, knowing that we were each gonna give it our all in the box.
This conversation really feels like it was a big turning point. Was there
Yeah.
anything that really stuck out, like something that someone said that's really helped change?
I think we just focused on, like, ownership, like, owning up to certain things and just, like, when we lose, it's everyone's fault, it's not one person, and we're all gonna learn from it, and just learning from each other's mistakes and taking ownership of things helps you overcome certain things, so I think that's really what stuck out to me and what stuck out to our team, and
Well, since then, you guys have been on fire offensively, defensively, and pitching. Now you guys get to bring it to Evanston. How much are you looking forward to your first home weekend at the J?
I'm really excited, especially because it's obviously a big SEC team. Um, we obviously had a couple games in the fall, but I don't think it's gonna be the same. Um, so yeah, I'm really excited, and baseball also plays home, so that'll be fun too. Um, yeah.
And I'm sure people have told you what it's like, that terms of feeling, but do you think there's something you're most looking forward to this weekend at home?
I mean, I just think the fans are gonna be super fun. I've heard, like, everyone loves to play at the J because of the fans, so I think that's gonna be super fun. We also just figured out our home run songs and our double songs, so that's
Ooh.
fun.
Wait, I wanna hear yours.
Well, the home run songs and the double songs are, like, team, so it's, like,
Yes.
whenever.
Okay.
So our double song is Gangnam Style.
So do you have to do it on second base?
Yeah.
Okay, I love
So
that. I can't wait to
that's
see
gonna be
that.
a new thing. Um, and then I think they've had this one before, but our home run song is "Sorry for Party Rocking," and then we obviously have our new home run celebration.
The milking the cow. Can we talk about that? That I'm so glad you brought it up. That was debuted in Oklahoma City, which perfect time with the
Yeah,
amount of home runs you guys hit. Where
yeah.
did this come from for anyone who doesn't know about it?
I mean, I honestly don't really know. I know it was from a football player.
Mhm.
Um, I don't really know why we do it. I think that's something with the upperclassmen, if I'm being honest, but someone just said it, and then I think we just stuck with it.
And you guys are all having fun. I love how
Yeah.
it feels like every single person's hand gets, like, touched,
I know.
throughout the home
It
run
is kinda
celebration.
hard to touch everyone's, but yeah.
And especially with the history of Northwestern and the purple cow, it goes
Yeah.
hand in hand so well. Well, Kaylee, as we wrap things up, I wanna talk we've been talking about, this weekend, but I wanna know when you just even look forward, what do you feel like this team is really capable of doing this season? Now that you guys are finding your stride, you get to be back at the J and playing in Big Ten softball, which you all love so much.
I mean, yeah, I just think we all obviously have one goal of winning the Big Ten again for the 4th time, and I just think if we carry this offensive momentum, like, I really think we do have a good shot, and obviously it's gonna be a little bit more difficult because of these new talented teams joining the Big Ten, but I just think if we trust our preparation and stick to what we're doing, I think we really have a good shot at it, and yeah, I think we have a lot of potential, especially the growth that we've had over the season and now finally hitting stride.
I love it. Well, Kaylee, thank you so much for joining us. And for anyone who's tuning in, you can watch Kaylee and the rest of Northwestern Wildcats on BTN on Friday, and then they'll be on BTN Plus for a doubleheader on Saturday against Mississippi State once all the snow can finally melt in Chicago. But thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, it was fun.
Always a pleasure. And for anyone else, you stay tuned for next week as we'll be back with Sydney's Spin. And even tonight, you also have a breakdown from Nicole Mendez with the SEC Network Softball. So much good softball this weekend. We can't